Come all you moonshiners if you want to hear about
Distillers,
the that's
brewers,
around here.
hobbyists,
Made
and
way
those who are
back
just
when
flat out
Fort Mill
curious.
Hills, where they
I'm George. This is Barley and Hops, and I am so glad to be back with you. Now, normally I would say, welcome back. But in this case, you've been there all the time. So I say, thank you. And I do appreciate all the well wishes and all the curiosity. And let me dispel some rumors. No, I have not passed away. Thank you. I have not been incarcerated, but I have spent about 2 years of doing a plethora of things that I normally would not have done. I got into woodworking. We did a lot of traveling. And I'll tell you, thanks to folks like Jesse at Stillet, who have egged me on. Bearded from Bearded and Board, who have kind of coached me and kept to make me realize that I may have a little bit more to offer. I had considered not doing any more videos at all, but for a short period of time, I was content with that, but I just kept getting that nudge and that nudge. And then there are people like Norm from Canada, who I've stayed in touch with over this 2-year period, who constantly urged me to get back into it. Norm, thank you so much, and I wish the best to you and your family. And of course, the Canucks from up north, we share some equal issues, so I do appreciate all of that. Now, on to what we're here for today is, yes, this is a relaunch or a continuation, but it's been a long time. And like most of you who have gone away from something, when you go back, you find out that, oh my goodness, there's so much that I have lost. Not just lost, but misplaced. And you can see that I've got a hot mess around here. I started pulling out all my equipment from times that, I started moving things around. I started trying to get readjusted to do different things. And my goodness, I found stuff in places I didn't think that I had put it. So I got a lot of cleaning. I've got a lot of polishing. I got a lot of dusting. I got a lot of stuff to get together. So let's get down to what we're actually going to do today. Today I'm going to reintroduce myself to the distilling process. And the distilling process is really comparable to brewing, distilling, or if you're going to make wine. Those are the things that we're trying to accomplish. So we're going to start from the very beginning. But at the same time, I'm going to assume that you know a lot of things. But those that you don't know, we're going to share that with you too, because we dare to unlock the mysteries of home distilling. So on to what we're here for. Okay, I found, as I was thinking through this, I was like, what am I going to make this video about? Besides coming back and joining you, the community that just loves to do what we do, what can I offer? Well, for a long time I thought that I had offered as much as I possibly could. I didn't want to be the perpetual graduate student that, hell, I just wanted to be in school for an extra 12 years, for the same thing over and over again. That's what I had thought for a long time, but I figured, there are still some aspects of this process that can be shared. I found 2 cans of peaches, and these are 2 number 10 cans. I'm going to use these, and you can walk through it with me, and we're going to take the slow, arduous process, because of course I got the cleaning, I got the sterilizing, and the preparation to do. We're going to do that. Now, here's a tip for you. If you're ever going to use fruit, here's George's recommendation. Not absolutely critical, but it's a recommendation. Let's say, for instance, you want to use blackberries, blueberries, cherries, apricots. Apples, not so much. But some of those other meaty fruits, freeze them first. Yeah, freeze them. Yeah. When you freeze a fruit, what really happens is internally on a molecular level, it kind of explodes. It breaks those membranes within those flavorful holding molecules, and it makes it much easier to produce a juice that you can get at a whole lot easier. Because remember, yeast only have so much capability. They're not going to eat through something They're going to eat what's available. So, oh yeah, and oh, by the way, we're going to also go through a little bit of yeastology, I like to call it. You know, we're going to follow yeast. I thought it would be interesting if we could follow yeast through a process, you know, from the very beginning, from its dry phase and or liquid phase, you know, through what it goes through, its anaerobic and its, you see, you start to forget the terms. Aerobic, yeah, your anaerobic and your aerobic phases, and maybe look at it under a microscope and find out and watch exactly what it's doing at the same time. So you see, I've always believed that if you could fully understand a process, that no matter where you are in your process, should something go a little bit awry, you're able to adjust and accommodate for that. And plus, it's kind of neat to know when you walk in, you know, I know exactly what's happening. So we're going to use some peaches, and I'm going to do multiple fermentations because I'm going to use the juices from here. I'll freeze the fruit, bring the fruit back out, go ahead and thaw the fruit, and then chop it up a little bit so that we can get, and that'll be in a separate fermentation. And the only reason I do that, you may well know, once you use fruit or something that's really fibrous, what's the biggest challenge? Think about it. Yeah. The biggest challenge is separating all those fibers from everything else. So you wind up with this sloppy mess. So why not separate it early and then deal with that separately and then have all of your fermented juices in another container? So we'll do that. And also we're going to make, yeah, why not? Yeah, we're going to distill a bourbon or a whiskey. Well, yeah. What would you think? Yeah. Why don't we just do a bourbon? And to do a bourbon, you need what? Yeah, corn. Corn is, the difference between a bourbon and a whiskey is 51% corn. Yeah, and most of the bourbon is made in a county called Bourbon, Kentucky. But if you have 51% corn in your recipe, well, then you can actually call it a bourbon. But we're not going to get wrapped around the legalities of the rules that someone has imparted upon us to, you know, whether it's a whiskey or a bourbon. But we are going to use, and I've got some corn left over. So I've got, oh gosh, I've got a bunch of this that's been sitting around. You know, I found a lot of things that, when I put things away, they just sat there and they waited for me. Now, here just, it's for self-disclosure, I will offer to you that yeast that's left even in a sealed jar for 2 years is no longer viable. Go figure. A lot of things could have been, you know, influenced that, but we're going to use some yeast. You know, I love the Red Star Daddy, Distiller's Active Dry Yeast. We'll use that for our bourbon. But one thing I found, and I've also got some EC 1118. This is really good for a really good wine. It's a good balance in the middle of all the wine profile or all the yeast profiles that go from one end to the other, whether you're going from a, oh my goodness, what would we say, from a real good dry wine or a table wine to a fine wine. It's a good balance in the middle of all of those. EC 1118 is one of the most popular wine yeasts that there is on the market in general. Okay, there are some that are out there just as good, equal on every footing, but EC 1118 is pretty good. And then I've got some Red Star Pasteur champagne yeast, and this is really good for my fruits. So I'm going to use this for fermenting the fruits when we do the peach. So for those who have often wondered whatever happened to George, George has been busy. Oh gosh, I've enjoyed reading your comments. I have not responded to a lot of them, but I will continue to in the future. And you know, I appreciate everything that you've done for the community. Beard and Board, Jesse, Norm, thank you again, my friend. And to all of you, happy distilling.
Come all you moonshiners.
So what do you
if
think
you want
for an
to hear
unrehearsed
about the kind of booze that they serve
return?
around here?